We have talked a lot about the ultra-rich tech giants that have worked very hard to get into Donald Trump's good graces. People like Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, and of course, Jeff Bezos. But one of the most important of those Trump allies is somebody you might not have heard of. Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison. I think he's the second richest guy in the world. There's an extraordinary new piece from Wired that is calling him the shadow president. Used to be Elon, now it is Larry Ellison in Trump's America. And I want to share why. Here's a good quote. In an age where human attention is perhaps the world's most valuable commodity, the Ellisons could be in charge of almost everything a modern-day pseudo-robber baron could want by the end of this year or soon after. Joining us now, the author of that very piece, our dear friend Jake LaHut, senior writer for Wired covering the Trump White House, and the rest of the nightcap is still here. Jake, this is super important. People knew who Elon Musk was before. They don't know Larry Ellison and his family. Who are they?
Yeah, I think that's very much by design when it comes to how Ellison has managed his image, because in the 1990s, this guy was all about the flashy purchases, this image as kind of being like a bad boy womanizer. There's a line in his book, which, again, the title, you just kind of can't believe this is real sometimes, but it's What's the Difference Between God and Larry Ellison? The tagline is God doesn't think he's Larry Ellison. And there's a line in there that he would sleep with or just be dating 3 employees at once.
Wow.
In the earlier days at Oracle.
Me too, clearly.
So really where Ellison, I think, is now a player that you really can't ignore in Trump world is just this combination of his sort of portfolio.
But why? Tell us what it is.
So you've got the TikTok deal where he has basically been seen in Trump world as, you know, this is his deal to lose since the beginning. You also have Oracle already providing the data, at least for the American users on their servers, so that then they're going to get this new imported algorithm and all the retraining of that, and the content serving will be hosted on their servers. So it's kind of like the digital plumbing, if you will, of like this whole system. And then you got his son, David, running this Paramount media behemoth. They may acquire Warner Brothers Discovery. So if all this goes through, and with the entertainment side of it, and you know that's really like the attention economy part of Ellison, this takes some steps. Like you need to actually get that bid to go through for Warner Brothers Discovery. But if all goes well in the way the family wants, we're talking about CNN merged with CBS, all these entertainment properties, HBO. And then, you know, a lot of these tech guys are really obsessed with how Weibo works in China, where you sort of have an everything app. So if you sort of extrapolate that a little further and you have TikTok in sort of the same stream as all these other properties, which, by the way, you know, the app Paramount Plus would have some of our most beloved movies and all that. Suddenly, you're talking about a pretty big chunk of America's news and entertainment consumption under control of one family.
And that's one not family that has collected that much data on the American people. You know, people say, could they be the new Murdochs? This is much bigger than that, no?
It is well, if they were to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery, it would be considerably bigger than the Murdoch empire. Absolutely. And certainly, as it stands right now, the Murdoch empire is considerably smaller than it used to be in the United States. Disney bought out the Fox component of that, you know, from the movie and entertainment side. So, yeah, this would be consolidation under a single roof, if you will, that the likes of which I don't think we've seen since the very beginnings of the entertainment age, when major networks were in the hands of 3 families.
And a big thing is Murdoch infamously bought MySpace right before it sank like a rock. You know, TikTok is still ascendant somehow, even
sure
though,
is.
And
there's no rival to it, really. I mean, Reels to a certain extent,
not really.
Yeah,
but not really. No.
Yeah, and there's a political component to TikTok. You know, that about how, you know, like certain parties want the algorithm to have more pro-Israel content to it. So it's, I mean, I think, like Rupert Murdoch would have loved to have had his hands on this many properties.
The algorithm, it controls how we perceive news right now, right? We could be cranking out, you know, meat and potatoes news content every single day. Jake was talking about the last time we were here, and the algorithm scoops up the most extreme things that come out of the mainstream media, churn that out, and then that becomes the norm. But tell us, we understand now what they could control. What are they interested in, right? Who is Larry Ellison?
I'd say Larry Ellison's top 2 issues would be AI and Israel. Specifically, he's become much more aligned with Prime Minister Netanyahu, much more supportive of the IDF over the course of his time. And that's really where his transformation as a political figure kind of starts to make sense, is he was a real committed donor to the Democrats for a long time. He once said on the record that he thought the Constitution should be amended so that Bill Clinton could run for a 3rd term. And then over the course of the Obama years, he starts to essentially sour on Obama's relationship, souring Bibi Netanyahu. But to your earlier point about, like, is this comparable to the Murdoch family or kind of when in American history? I mean, we didn't take this lightly at Wired, but I think really it's better to look back to the Gilded Age with what the Ellison family is becoming to data and attention is kind of what the Vanderbilts were to rail, what the Rockefellers were to oil.